Yeah, all right. Good morning, it's 10:06, we'll call this meeting of Wichita County Commissioners Court to order. This time, I'd like to call on the Honorable Jeff Watts to give you a
Pray with me, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we just give you thanks for all the many and wonderful blessings you give to us each and every day. Father, we ask that you be with us today and guide and direct us as we make decisions that affect the citizens of our county. Father, we ask that you touch our land and heal our country, Father, from this pandemic that has caused so many to lose their lives and to be sick. And we just pray for them and lift them up to you, Father. You are Jehovah Rapha, the great healer, and we know that you will provide. Father, again, we just thank you. We ask that you be with our first responders and those that protect us here at county and across the world, Father. We just ask that you be with them, protect them as they go about their duties. Father, we thank you again for the wonderful and many blessings you give to us each and every day. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Join the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Texas pledge, please.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
If I can take seats, please. Okay, we're now time for public comments. It is 10:08. And do we have anyone that wishes to speak? Time is limited to 5 minutes, and we cannot engage in discussion of the item you bring up. Anyone on the call-in wish to speak? All right. It's still 10:08, and I will close the public comments portion, and we'll address the consent agenda.
Judge, I had some questions.
Yes, sir.
Just over. The first one is on item 7. Do we not have an agreement with Electra?
Well, they don't have, really, the entities that are participating in this election, that's the only ones that are on there.
Oh, for this
Yeah.
go-round? Oh, okay.
Okay.
And Ms. Bohannon called me Friday and asked me to take off Burke Burnett because they're not on the ballot.
I wondered about that, but I thought.
Okay.
So
Okay.
just
Just what happened was when we were roughing out that initial agreement, I just started with Burke Burnett, and then of course, they don't have anything in the election cycle this time, so we're only with Iowa Clark
Okay,
and Wichita Falls.
all right.
So that's what happened.
That's what happened, all
So
right.
those two, and then on those two agreements, that's where we apportion the cost.
All right.
Okay.
So we're scratching Burke Burnett.
Quick question, Tracy. And on this new agreement, that has that new proportioned rate figured in? Okay,
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Well, since we just have the three issues.
right.
yeah. It will vary on any election
On-
depending on
yeah.
the number of entities participating as to what percent of the whole you make up then.
Right.
And that's, no one came back and said, well, it's the greatest plan, but no one came back and said it was the worst plan they ever heard. So they just didn't say anything. So we moved forward with that methodology of doing it.
Judge, on item 9,
Yes, sir?
is that the code red that we underwrite with some of the money from Wichita Wilbarger?
Yes, sir.
Okay. They're still, is that 10,000 that they're doing, or?
They were doing 15.
15, okay. So it practically underwrites the entire cost, okay.
Okay.
And then item 10, the Cardinal Health, what is the conflict waiver agreement?
They had, Ms. Jennings, go ahead and explain it.
So that law firm represents some folks in a matter that is unrelated to our potentially retaining them. And so what they need to do is make sure that they're not getting themselves in a bind with their other clients nor with us. There will not be a conflict for them. They just need to make everyone aware of it. And in order for us to accept that, that needs to be something that you all consider.
Okay.
But they just need to make sure they're not in a position to smoke and say, you chose the other client over us. They are completely unrelated matters.
Okay.
But they are our representative?
No,
No,
they're
There's
inconsistent.
something that you all are gonna be considering, but they
Oh.
had to do a conflict check, and if they're not gonna pass through this part of it, there's no point going on to the next.
Okay.
Right.
potentially,
Very good.
Right,
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
that's why you guys are being aware at this point of that.
Okay, okay. Because I didn't really know who they were.
Well, I checked with the jail commission looking for people in it, where they came up with this company and one other one. It's all, there's not a group of people that would come in and do the service of reviewing the applications and then do a follow-up audit we want to do about.
Okay, right. What we talked about.
About 6 months down the road.
Okay, very good.
Okay.
And then item 12, is this amount for the new $4 million renovations to our existing building here?
Item 12?
11, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's the plans packet and everything that we have approved recently.
And we pay them up front for those services?
They've already produced all of that work.
That's for all their blueprints,
That's
plans.
the plans, blueprints, everything.
Consulting, doing it, yeah.
Per,
Do they oversee some of this as we go through it as well?
they'll oversee every step of the way,
Yeah,
just like
okay.
they did on the LEC.
Okay, but this is money being spent for work they have performed already?
Correct, the schematic design,
Okay.
the construction document, we're in the construction document phase now, so.
Okay.
You probably looked at that, it'd probably be almost a year's,
More than a year.
or more than
yeah,
a year.
Yeah,
So it's a regular draw, in
Yeah.
other words.
Yeah.
against the project.
But they wait until we approve the project and put it on, you know.
And then finally, on item 19, I wanted to see after we write this check with and there's a few above it as well, LEC bond funds, where are we at? Do we know?
I think Mr. Hampton's gonna give you that information.
Oh, it's in
It's
yours.
in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
This-
Good deal, good enough.
this still, on 19, Commissioner Watts said, we still are retaining about $250,000 behind in order to ensure that we have several punch list items that remain to be taken care of, that we've
Okay.
taken care of before. But
Gotcha.
1862 number is what we feel like contractually, we can pay out and still withhold the nearly
Okay.
$250,000 amount.
Okay. And with that, Judge, I'd make a motion to accept the
I have one
consent
more
agenda.
Yes, okay, just a second, I need. Okay. Commissioner Fincannon, which one?
On number 8, is number 8 have to do with the number 6 general business, just approving the signature for that if that's passed?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Because I couldn't find any difference in the back pages of that, so it looked like the same.
There's
Okay,
not. It's just, it's two different steps that we have to take.
okay.
Okay.
In that case, I'll second.
Okay. Is there any comment by anyone in the audience or on the phone? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote in the motion to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Watts, seconded by Commissioner Fincannon. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. The next item is to a public hearing for consideration of a tax abatement and proposed joint agreement with the CMH Manufacturing Incorporated. We have Mr. Travis Hager here to make a presentation services with the Wichita Falls Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
And one quick thing. When I was reading over all that, all our documentation just says CMH. So I had to go ask, which CMH? So it is Clayton Homes. Just for anybody that's just reading this, they'll know exactly it's for Clayton Homes.
Great point. Clayton Homes, yes.
Clayton Manufactured Home.
Clayton Manufactured Homes. So this is, thanks for having me this morning and allowing me an update. I want to take you guys back through just a little bit of this process. Clayton Homes Manufacturing is the #1 manufactured home builder in the world. They have several facilities here in Texas and are located across the United States. But let me take you back a little bit more. In 2006, when Fleetwood Homes, who owned the property at 2400 Burke Burnett Road, when they shut down their operations, the Economic Development Corporation bought that building, that property. That same year, 2006, the EDC entered into a 10-year lease agreement, triple net lease agreement, with a company out of Canada called Atco Homes. Atco came in and they were building homes on site just as that property was designed. And the beauty behind that, just that history, is I think everyone should know that being good stewards of taxpayer money is what you all look to. You look to the Economic Development Corporation and their partners to do the same thing. And as that played out, for the purchase price that the EDC bought the building from Fleetwood and the 10-year lease, triple net lease that was paid to them, it paid back the purchase price. So in the end, the EDC, after 10 years, owned that building, really kind of free and clear, if you will. So that's one success story that I really like to share with people, to let them know how some of the money is being spent in economic development. So when Atco vacated the site in 2016, Clayton Homes approached us in 2017. That was our first contact with them, and they wanted to know what they could do with that facility if they could purchase it. So we entered into really a letter of intent and a purchase agreement to start the process. Through the due diligence, we discovered that there were some environmental issues on the property out there. So Clayton Homes said, well, we're not interested, we'll pass, and so that became null and void. In the meantime, we said, well, we can't really sell this property like this, so we need to work on a cleanup. So we started working with TCEQ, Texas Commission of Environmental Quality, on what is called the voluntary cleanup process. There's all these acronyms out there. They call it the VCP. So we start going in and we hire an environmental engineering team to come out and work us through the process. The Braun Intertech helped us through this process, and thankfully we had their guidance, because it was a long process. But what we had to do is go in and drill these monitoring wells, start watching and seeing where the possible flow, if the plumes were growing, if they were shrinking, where they were moving, before TCEQ can say, hey, you guys are okay with this, we're okay with the process, and give our stamp of approval. So through it all, what we were ultimately hoping for was an MSD designation, which is a designation that says there is no groundwater that's potable, all right? That is contaminated, but city water and everything to the site and the facility, that's all good. So the facility is still in good shape, but there's no potable water that can be used on that 32 acres that are out there. That's important to know, because for future development of those sites, if somebody puts up a new building on that site, they need to know that there's contamination, groundwater contamination, so vapor protections, vapor barriers, things like this. So it's all a protection from TCEQ to make sure that the next buyer, the next owner, has the information they need and takes the precautions to make sure that everyone on that property is safe. So we started that process. I reached back out to Clayton Homes in 2019, let them know where we were at, asked them if they would be interested, since we were working with TCEQ on this, and they said they would be. Let us review what you're doing, what this property may look like at the end of this process. So they were happy with what TCEQ had recommended and where we were going with it, so we entered into a new purchase agreement for the entire property out there, with the contingency that we would get our MSD designation and follow through with the voluntary cleanup process. And so we worked really hand in hand with them, adjoining property owners out there to try to help everyone. The chamber, we're out there to try to help every business, and so we worked with our area adjacent landowners to inform them of what's going on and give them just basically kind of a heads up of, hey, this is what's on our tract. Don't know if it's affecting you, but here's a heads up on it. So
real quick.
Yes.
No abatement on the contaminant, just monitoring at this point.
Just monitoring,
Okay.
yes. Good question, thank you. And technically, the monitoring is over, because we were able to finish that and cap the wells. So there's no further monitoring unless the property owner wants to.
Okay.
So that's on them, but the wells have all been capped now. So there was a great process working with Clayton Homes. They've been through some purchases like this before, so they had some experience. They were very patient. It took us 2 years to get through the whole thing. And they were there with us every step, and great company to work with. They're a Berkshire Hathaway company, so they do things right, and they're very focused on the existing industry that's here, how they can come into the Wichita Falls landscape and help us grow, help us create jobs. Part of their investment in Wichita Falls is an additional, outside of buying the building, an additional probably 15 to 20 million in capital investment on renovation to that property. They're looking at hiring about 180 to 200 jobs, which equals about, on those paying jobs, about a $7 million annual economic impact for payroll. So great jobs, great company. We're super excited to have them. And so as I come before you all today to ask about the tax abatement, back in 2017, we proposed our first incentive letter, and at that time, we were still doing 10-year tax abatements with city and county. And so I'm going to ask if you guys would still consider to move that forward. The city has acted on their 10-year abatement. I would ask if the county would do the same thing as we have in the past. But before I get too far into that, I hope that we can pull up this video. I want to show everyone, now this is a facility in Athens, Texas, that they recently purchased a couple years ago. And this is what they've done. They bought an existing facility, much like we have, and then they've gone in and they've done all the renovation. And it talks a little bit what they do and their employee and their community engagement. So if we could show that, I would appreciate it.
Most of the inspiration comes from really trying to provide a place for those folks to know that they're appreciated.
They want a place that they can get up in the morning, they can go to, they know they're gonna work with great people, they got great equipment, they got great facilities to support them. That's what anybody wants.
Everybody in the industry is gonna benefit. We're raising the bar, and it's a good thing for our industry.
We're trying to look at the way people are working. We've analyzed how best to support the team members in the construction of the homes. Simple things like the handling of material, OSB and drywall, which is extremely heavy. And how do you handle that in an automated process where it feeds through some of our slurry? I'm estimating making the job of the team member easier, such that they can devote more time to constructing the home and falling in.
One of the better examples of how we've designed the plant to take care of our team members are the cool zones. These are essentially air-conditioned areas, give the team members an opportunity to cool off during the course of their workday.
We started with the survey. What would make your environment better? And we eliminated the dust. That's probably one of the first things that we started with.
We also have added TV monitors and iPads throughout the plant in order to reduce the amount of paper that our team members have to deal with on a daily basis.
I wanted the Clayton Bistro cafeteria to feel like a restaurant, and part of that meant creating diverse seating, a variety of colors, textures, lighting. All those things work together to really promote this kind of inner spirit that we're striving for within our facilities now.
The free salad bar is another representation of how we're trying to create a healthy environment for our team members.
You know, to be able to walk in a facility during break time or lunch and see how happy people are, you're proud of being a part of this.
The reason that we designed our offices the way they are was to be able to create a place where we could retreat to a casual, informal working area.
When someone walks into our facility for the first time in Clayton, Athens, I hope that they realize that what Clayton's doing is really building happiness for our clients, our customers.
We kept growing, and we had this opportunity to just start from scratch. We're like, let's do it all. Let's create the right environment from the time you walk into our facility to the time you leave.
It's a great period in our company. We're building a sustainable business model for the future. That's what's going to sustain us through the next 30 years.
The opportunity of changing this industry's image is tremendous today. It's never been a better time to change it.
Thank you for making that available. So when Clayton Homes, when they first approached us, they were looking at about $15 million in capital investment to improve the facility, make it something like this. Since then, they've added another $5 million because they want to reduce their carbon footprint. They want to make things more green out there. They're talking about, for example, the way they take care of their employees is all covered parking for employees, and then they're going to put solar panels on top, working with, make sure the city and Shepherd Air Force Base is aware of those possible additions, but just making their environment as comfortable as they can for their employees. That you can tell that that's what their real focus is. So we're excited to have them, and boy, I'm excited to see what's happening. They've already had teams on site. We closed on the property back in September, so they own it now. And they've already had teams on site here, both environmental teams and building and site senior facility managers, things like that. And there's another group coming out, I believe it's next week, to keep moving the ball forward. So we're excited. This has been quite a process, and you know, it's projects like these that really help elevate Wichita Falls and what we do in economic development, because it highlights all of our partners, from the city to the EDC to the chamber to the county. I mean, everybody's involved. We talk all the time about how many volunteer hours are put in by independent contractors. They don't get recognized for that, but they're out there with their volunteer and taking time, because they know it's important to get these facilities up and running. And just in closing, you know, we had another one with the Pamlico Air facility, the old Stanley Tools building that Pamlico Air moved into. We submitted that project to the Texas Economic Development Council for what they call a CEDA award, which is Community Economic Development Award for excellence in a project. And that project won that statewide award. We compete with 100 to 250,000 in population. And so we won that. That award got submitted onto what is called the SEDC, Southeast Development Council, which is a 17-state organization that takes Texas and pretty much everybody east of there, but it's a 17-state organization. We just found out about 3 weeks ago that we won that award in 17 states, repeating the same thing. So it's projects like that, and I don't want to be overconfident, but this is going to be an amazing project and a story to tell, and I do think it's going to be a top competitor for awards down the road, especially working through TCEQ issues. And I mean, you guys probably have had some experience with those. It's not easy to get through. So those kind of projects, these kind of partnerships are really what our economic development team is all about, because it's not just the chamber, it's not just the EDC, it's everybody, including the public, that is out there supporting us as well. So we just really appreciate the continued support, guidance, directions from you guys, and feedback and input. It's always important.
So they'll be building a facility on par with what we just saw?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
They plan on actually making this one their flagship.
Really?
Is what they say.
Wow.
Because of not only what they have to work with, they love the facility, they just wish
It's
the
a
ceiling
very
was
nice facility
It is.
already.
It is.
They wish the ceiling was taller,
Ceiling
probably.
was taller, yeah. that's
Everybody
only-
wants the ceiling
Everybody
taller.
wants a taller ceiling. Everybody wants a little taller house, I guess, too, so.
But it appears that they're pretty much all automated, so they have to have that clearance to
Yeah.
get their equipment up there, so.
They do, and so, yeah, they're planning to make this their flagship facility, not only because of what they're gonna do with it, but also an example as a reduction in the carbon footprint of what companies can do to continue to help with what we're all concerned about on that front.
And Travis, does this group outright sell those houses they build to anyone, or do they have distributors they go to? How does that work?
They do, that's not a retail facility, they do have their outlets, so
Okay.
they're the warehouse, really.
Okay.
The builder and the warehouse, and they send them to their selling facilities. So I'm trying to talk them into selling them on site, because they've got some room to set up for display homes, and I think it'd be very beneficial. I'm working with them on trying to develop some additional neighborhoods that they can put their homes in, and some futuristic designs as far as how we can work in conjunction with some pocket neighborhoods and really develop that community inside of those neighborhoods to meet a lot of different needs. So I think they're going to be a good partner, and they're listening. They're good. They like to listen to those things. They're not necessarily in development or home development with their own sites, but something like this has intrigued them, what we're talking about. So I hope we can keep
That
up
would
with
be
it.
good.
Would be.
Just to show off their product, but also, I mean, I can see a lot of benefit to
Yeah,
that, so.
so we're working that direction with them, and I don't want to push them too hard until they get here and get
Yeah.
completely, one thing at a time. You know, that's a pretty big elephant to eat, so we'll just eat it one bite at a time. But right now, we're on a really good track with them. So I appreciate you guys' support.
Just curious, what prompts the TCEQ study like that? Is that a standard deal on a transfer property, or what prompted the check on that property?
Well, actually, Clayton Homes, when they require or request a phase one,
Okay.
then if there's a few check red marks that come up in the phase one,
Yeah.
they move to the phase two study, and the phase two is what typically undercovers underground contaminants and stuff like that.
Might have, it might have a tie to their financing plan too, if you never know, so. I was just curious because that's kind of an interesting area out there. There's been a lot of various activities, in the past, and we're always interested in, what's out there, what's going on, what could be a roadblock down the road for something like that.
And Wichita Falls Manufacturing, who sits just adjacent to the north and a little bit to the west, I always call them, it looks like the home of Whataburger, because they've got the orange and white buildings and, and the roofs and stuff, they sat out there. And they actually went through the VCP process about the same time we did, so they could get that same designation on their property. So it's important, and, the other thing that this does is it helps us lay some groundwork and foundation to help to be a resource to other businesses that may need to go through something like this.
Yeah.
And
What
not just
can
throw their
grow
hands
from
up.
that?
What's
Yeah.
that?
I said, what can grow from that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So someone just doesn't throw their hands up and say, well, the property's contaminated,
Yeah.
nothing can be done. Now we can be a resource provider. We're not experts by any means, but we can be a resource provider and say, this is what we did, and we hope that can help too.
Well, I think your point's well taken. We're not planning on using groundwater up under it anyway, so it would be a shame to let that be a barrier to some kind of expansion, like just, it's there and you never do anything with it, which is somewhat wasteful, but
And
I
they're
was
talking
just,
about, part of their capital investment is adding another 50,000 square feet to an existing 132,000 square foot facility. So they're already drawing plans with that. We've already had team members from the city out there, planning and zoning and engineering out there, walking the site with them, talking to them. The communication's been really good, very organized. It's a good project. I'm excited for it. You can't tell.
pretty interesting. I was telling my fellow commissioners this morning, I was visiting with a gentleman, not to get into any details or anything, that told me what a tremendous bargain he thought Wichita Falls was, and he's a developer and a guy that's in that business, and it seems like we get beat up more often than not about, well, this is bad and this is wrong and all that. He says, I'm telling you, he said that area up there is poised to do some great things, and he said it is a bargain right now, and that's what you want to hear when you're out visiting with people, and I agreed with him. I think it is a bargain.
Yeah,
So,
as far as that goes, land down in Dallas-Fort Worth area that used to be owned by EDCs that they could negotiate on, pretty much all that land is gone. So
Yeah.
now you're back to buying it from the private sector, and private sector has a different goal in mind when they sell their land than
Yeah.
necessarily an EDC does. The EDC wants to create jobs when they sell it, but a private investor wants to, make their money, make their profit off it, and that can be challenging for expansion as well. So we are fortunate that we have our business park and some of the sites available now. That being said, we're out of buildings. The EDC is, we sold Stanley, we sold ADCO now, and so
That's
now
a
we need to start working on.
good problem to have.
It is a good problem.
There'll be more, there'll be more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we just hope that we can build out what we've got on our industrial park and maybe find something else that would.
Well, seems like a good fit for our community. The skill
Yeah.
base that we have here locally, it fits well.
It does.
Are we going to take advantage of Kate Center to supply, or the career center to supply workers for the facility, or
Yes,
are they going to partner in any way?
They have a building trades program
they
there.
do. And they have visited that facility as well. So we have as part of the incentive package, we did offer them a skills training fund grant opportunity, that if the state doesn't award it, what that means is the state is the first to match the grant. But if the state would not, for some reason, do that, our EDC backstops that and says, hey, we want to make sure that you get the skills, you get what you need. So when you come here, if that grant doesn't go through state, we're going to make sure and pay for it. So you have the opportunity to do the training on site. We work a lot with Vernon College on that grant program, and it's great working with them because Vernon College even says, hey, if you've got your own employee that's a trainer, we can help subsidize the cost of that trainer and that trainer's time off to actually do the instruction and really kind of help them out with saying, gosh, I hate to pull that person off of that job over there. We're going to lose money while he's training, but we can subsidize that training while he's doing it even. So it's a great fund, very flexible, and they are very interested in the
That's
CEC
good.
Center.
No, it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a good fit for our community,
Yeah.
I think.
We're looking at also, I heard a couple weeks ago when I was at a conference, a great idea that someone's already doing in one of their cities, and they call it signing day. And it's signing day for all the high school graduates that have decided not to go on to higher education, but want to enter the workforce. And a lot of times they get overlooked as people
It's a
that
good idea,
they're just not gonna, they're not gonna do anything. But instead, you know, when someone signs on to a college, that's an exciting day for them, you know, and, or they sign on to a scholarship, an exciting day for them. If we can do a signing day for those who are not looking at going to higher education, but want to enter the workforce and celebrate them for their ideas, and then bring them up through
Oh, I like
mentorship,
that.
apprenticeship, I think we can
I
get
think
something.
that's
I like that a
correct.
lot.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Those are just a few things we're working on.
I mean, it's well-positioned too. I mean, it's very close to interstate and in a great central location. So I think this has potential to be a home run.
Clayton, they love the facility. Every time we're there with them, walking it, they just say, this is just a great facility. We're excited about this one.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And this agreement that we're into, this joint agreement is because we're gonna follow with the city. This agreement, we started working this back in 17, I think. So that's why we're not looking at our new policy, which would only allow up to a 70%. That's why I've recommended this to you all, is we could use this under how we started, and it'd be a decreasing 100% tax abatement. And the same thing we're looking at because of where we started with the city on the hotel. After that, everything will be new, and we'll base those against
And what does
Increasing
it,
10% per year,
10%.
10% per year.
and what does it do with INS, Judge?
Well, INS, and we kept that out, the agreement, and that was circulated a couple of weeks ago. INS, Road and Bridge both stay out of it, because they cannot be used that way. So, but the larger tax is what they're getting abated. The other tax roughly amounts to 10 cents right now, so that'll stay intact.
INS and R&B are outside of the abatement. We're
Yes.
just abating the M&O.
And what, rolling stock is also exempt under this agreement and is the same as the same program?
So inventory's exempted?
The manufacturing inventory, yes.
And it travels at a 10% increase each year as it goes through the motion. It's the same.
Well, I'm not sure on that one. I'm not sure the increase on it. And we may be thinking about different things. I'm thinking about the triple Freeport exemption.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
in the
talking
state.
about the Freeport.
Yeah,
Okay.
Freeport's we adopted that years ago, so as long as that, and now it's not 90 days, it's now 180 days.
120.
120. Okay,
I think it's 120 now.
is it 120?
I think so.
Yeah, it started out at 90 and then I knew it changed, I couldn't remember which way. But it's a good plan, good program, and gosh, bringing over 100 jobs is really good.
Yeah, they're actually predicting 200. In the performance agreement, they promised us 181. That was what their target was. But that was back in really 17 when we first started talking about it. And they said with what we're looking at this facility and automation that's happened in the past 4 years, that they think that they'll probably pretty easily push over 200, maybe up to 250. And just like Pamlico Homes, or Pamlico Air, they thought that they were going to do 200 jobs. Their last count was 321.
Wow.
So,
That's good.
yeah, that's, I think once companies get here, they see the work ethic of our community in this area, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, we can add more
We can
production.
do more.
And that's exactly what Pamlico did. And they've also added 2 new custom lines, which have created new jobs. So just some
Well,
great stories all the way around.
And just like this group here, this ain't their first rodeo.
No,
They
This is a
know what they're doing.
well-established company, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just read a pretty long article in the last week or so about the housing crisis in the United States, and it's becoming more acute because cost obviously is getting out of that, and this really fits into part of the solution. And well, there's a lot of good components here.
There are.
A lot of good components.
And I came from a real estate background for 20 years in Nebraska before I came down here. So talking about pocket neighborhoods and subdivisions and build outs, I'd love to do that. And I'd love to brainstorm with companies like this because they have the ability, they have the resource, and they have the product to be able to do it all. So I'm hoping we can move that.
What was that initial capital investment again?
15 million was the initial, what they predicted,
But now it's
but now it's moved to about 20 million.
20 million?
Yeah, because of what they want to do as far as reducing that carbon footprint and adding in more automation and things like that, so.
So we'll increase the value of the property by 20 million right off the bat, and then,
It certainly could,
Yeah.
yeah. That's our goal,
Good.
at least in the years, 3 through 10,
Yeah.
when we start receiving more of the return on the tax
yeah,
abatement.
Well, but the nice thing is you still got that building and its value
Right.
Yeah.
is already on there,
Already
each
set,
stage.
yeah,
So
But-
it's, we don't lose anything, we only gain.
That's right,
yeah.
that's right.
When was that original building built, do you know? Been there a while.
I don't remember.
Last time I was in it, it really surprised me as to how good it
Yeah.
had maintained. It's been a while since I was through that deal, and you look around and you thought, this thing wasn't just thrown together. It was done right at the time. Really, that makes a difference on long-term value.
We even asked Clayton Homes, when the first agreement fell through because of due diligence and what was uncovered, we said, can we get you some land in our business park and help you build a new facility out there? And they said, no, we want existing. We would like that one if we can get it to the right place. And so that's what we worked on doing with them.
Kind of designed and built for what they do. It makes a big difference.
Highest and best use is always a good thing.
That's right.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
You're
Anyone in the audience have anything to bring up on this or comment?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right. This is a manufacturing location, correct?
Yes,
So the products will be put together there
correct.
and then transferred out to the sales locations, correct? Okay, so silly question. Because they're such large units, do we currently have road infrastructure for ease of access to exit the product out and to withstand that kind of traffic, if that makes any sense? And would there be any cost to the taxpayer at some point having to build up road infrastructure for the project? Does that make any sense?
Those are not dumb questions, those are great questions, there's no doubt. Because yes, you're pulling out heavy inventory, but right now that Burke Burnett Road that's right in front, it certainly is a good access road. It's not necessarily a side road, it's a full access road that I think can handle really any of the traffic or the weight that's gonna be on it. Sure, down the road with additional weight trucks, things like that going over it, it's gonna take its wear and tear, but, for the most part, they all know that this.
Can I
that's part of-
answer
part of
something
the
on that?
business and keeping it upgraded. But I don't see, personally.
I'd like to answer that a little bit, because I own a business off that road. That's US, that's our business 287 is what that is. That road was constructed to handle equipment anyway. Right now, the state uses that for oversized loads. That's the path that they take
That's the
anyway
detour
right now.
route.
That's the detour road through Wichita Falls. That probably has some of the widest and highest areas in the
Yeah,
city
that was
to get traffic through.
Yeah.
And that road, more than anything, was constructed to handle that equipment. And on top of that, that's a state road, which the Wichita County we don't have to maintain it.
Yeah, state funds.
So state funds maintain that road. So really and truly, it's a win-win on that particular road.
Right,
Great question.
okay.
Anyone else?
I pulled the field.
Anyone on the call?
My cousin used to own it. I farmed
Okay,
for a
it is
long
10:45 and we will end the public
I know
hearing
it
portion
pretty
of
well.
that. And now we'll move to item number 2, which is to consider and take action to authorize the county judge to sign a joinder into the tax abatement agreement between the city of Wichita Falls, Texas and CMH Manufacturing.
So moved.
Second. It's been, like a lot of them, this one sounds like. Very positive, very, very good thing for our community.
Travis, thanks for the hard work on
Yeah.
that.
Yes, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
yeah.
Thank you for your support.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Fintan, a second by Commissioner Beecham to approve entering into the agreement with the city of Wichita Falls. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, sir. Okay. We're ready to open and take action as necessary on HVAC RFPs.
It looks like, again, the Lone Ranger was Trinity Air Conditioning. I just don't know why. I guess it's, everyone's too busy.
May have looked at our system.
Yeah, maybe so.
We've got a new good system.
We do.
Golly, they went up $5 an hour on everything. No,
I'm checking my email, make sure nothing else came in, so.
okay.
Well,
Do you all want to go ahead and then take action on this?
is it the same judge? Is it?
Roughly, it looks the same, Commissioner, but I don't have it.
Let's put it back on the agenda for next week. and
Okay,
Give me a chance to
review
review it. Thank you.
Okay, so
no
is that
action.
your motion then?
Yeah, that'd be my motion to table for next week.
Okay.
Well, the good news is Trinity has worked
They-
in this facility, and they're very aware of what we're
You
dealing
know,
with.
I'm just pleased with their service.
No, they do good work. I really wanted to see what else was available.
Yeah,
Can I get a
I'm
second
with
for
you.
this?
But
Second.
Thank you. Okay, any other comments by anyone? Okay, so a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Muller to take this under advisement for 1 week and bring it back to court. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Item 4 is review and approve the regular bills for payment. Order the county treasurer to disburse payroll and bill payments within 72 hours unless directed otherwise. You all received that list?
Yes.
Look at it over the weekend. Looked fairly normal to me. I didn't find it.
yes, I'll make a motion we pay our bills.
I'll second.
Cheryl, thanks for those reports. They're very handy
And getting easier to use.
and easier
That's a
for us
good
to
thing.
use. That's right.
Now, I'm just gonna get y'all working on logging in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, baby steps.
Okay.
Look
Any
at
other
your
comments?
tablet.
Are we the only entity that reviews bills like that?
I don't think so.
No.
Really? I mean,
I've gone and I've sat in on other commissioners' court meetings when I'd be on vacation or something, and had the opportunity to do that. And,
well, you live an exciting life. No, I think it's been a good program. I mean, we didn't always do it and adopted it, and
no,
I
well,
think it's been a good,
that happened
yeah.
a few terms ago, and
Yeah.
that was a good move. But no, I've been in courts where they literally passed the actual invoices around, and then they would all sign in a ledger book they kept.
Really?
And vote on them and do that. And others looked at them electronically, and others, they just passed right across, and everybody said, send the money.
Maybe they
As
didn't
many
have,
invoices
they didn't have as many as
Yeah,
we
as
did.
many as we have, we'd be here 70 hours a week passing around every invoice.
Yeah. So, it's a different process.
We have found things in that
have.
process
Yeah,
that
we
we've
have.
had
A lot
to
of things.
address
Yeah.
too.
Well,
That tells you it's a good thing to do.
Those utility issues that
Yeah.
we've got corrected and all were certainly worth that effort.
And, you know, I tell you where that thought generates from is Danny, and y'all may have all known and remember him, CPA in Wichita Falls, Danny Moore. Yeah. And Danny was a fraud investigator as well, but he insisted or told me that he, thought that it was such a great policy to do. And in the school board, we took turns, 2 of us at a time, working that month or whatever, to review and look. And I just think it's good when you can.
Well, we
Look
discovered
across.
a bunch of fuel surcharges early on, which are probably gonna be back
Yeah.
now, with the way things are going, but they were lingering, just a lot of things that are laying there that you pick up on that you wouldn't normally see.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Finnegan to approve the bills. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries 5-0. Item 5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve reserve deputy constable for precinct 1. I do not see,
Lisa Woodruff called and said that
Well, yeah, we needed to kind of go over that. We'll go ahead and move while you're getting him. Item 6 is discuss, consider, and/or take action to authorize the county judge to sign the interlocal agreement between the city of Wichita Falls, Texas and Wichita County for the use of Corona state funds and local fiscal recovery funds for installation of sanitary sewer lines and water lines. The city approached us with this project, and Commissioner Beecham, you've even gotten deeper into it, it's in your precinct, but this has been a long plan to take Midwestern Parkway and extend it out to the industrial park that's on the southeast edge of the county. They needed to improve a portion of county road that's on the Hammond Road that would go back and tie into the road going adjacent to.
Going east, yeah.
Going east.
Midwestern will not be completed all the way through into town. It'll just be completed to Hammond Road at this
Okay.
point.
But then they wanted to tie that in to the other, and that's
So they're not gonna
part
tie
of
it
the
all the
county
way?
road.
Not yet.
And we agreed, that the agreeing idea is we will, much like we're doing with the water supply corporations, when the city engineer, public works director Russell Shriver brought it to me, I said, we may be able to help you all with that. And so that's what we plan to pay that out of ARPA funds. And I think that's a good partnership with them. The agreement also allows that they will maintain that road. We're not in concrete road business, so we expect them to go ahead and do that. It's going to be a 48-foot wide, 8-inch, I think, is what it is. Concrete road with curb and gutter, and it'll really make that nice. And
Give a secondary egress into the business
Yeah.
park, so
Yeah.
it'll.
What do we have an estimation of the possible cost?
the whole project,
Just on our part that we'd spend ARPA funds for?
yeah, our part's $1,018,000.
It's almost 1.1, I think.
1.1?
Yeah.
845.
Thank you, there we go. But I think that's certainly a good partnership investment for that kind of road to be put in there. Yeah. And then Commissioner, you've got some associated ideas to.
To improve the roadways all the way through.
Yes.
Hey, Judge, it's Constable Little.
Okay, hang on a minute. We'll get you just a second.
Yeah, in conjunction with this, we'd like to go ahead and improve the Hammond Road, Hatton Road thoroughfare all the way to where they stop the road work for the Kate Center, and improve those roads. It won't be a full concrete road improvement with curb and gutter, but it'll definitely bring our county roads and the little piece of city road up to better standards.
More closely match, I
Yeah.
guess, and where we are now. How close is that to the new school location? Is that one over?
It's one over.
That's
They'll
what I
still have to go
thought.
to Windthorst. and
I was
then
trying to picture that. I was thinking that's what that was.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's another start to developing that whole area.
But they're looking at having to do some road improvements, working with the school district on that location and the west location also.
Well, I'd make the motion to approve.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any comments from anyone in the audience or on the phone on this item? Okay, we do have a motion by Commissioner Beecham, second by Commissioner Fincannon to approve entering into the agreement with the Wichita Falls, City of Wichita Falls on this project. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, we'll go back to item number 5. Constable Little wants to discuss approval of a reserve deputy he would like to have under his purview. Constable, go ahead, sir.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, and I apologize for not being there. We've had, we got several set outs going this morning, and some of them are not very friendly, so I need all hands on deck. I'm asked for a reserve deputy. The reserve deputy that
So he would not be operating a county vehicle unless he had yours or one of your other deputies?
Right, yeah, he would not unless he's with another deputy or, yeah, that's, he would not have a vehicle or anything like that. It's, his role would be, very, very different from, I think, the issue you guys have out first.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably just uniform equipment. Probably uniform equipment, rigging him out that way, but no vehicle.
Some equipment, most of the equipment he has himself. I'm thinking the only thing that, I would want to make sure that he had a vest. But, as far as like firearms and all that, he would provide all that himself. I can't, we would of course have to provide patches and a badge, I know that.
Okay. You can submit those after that, but he does have current T-close certification, you're not,
Yes, he is certified.
okay.
Yeah.
We'll need that. The other thing, we do carry them on our workers' compensation insurance, so we'll need to be sure that HR has all the correct information to add him onto that policy.
Okay, sir.
But no payroll expense.
No payroll expense, no.
No. I'll make a motion, we go ahead and approve it.
Second.
Got a question?
Yeah, so we made a motion or anything?
I did.
Yeah.
Is there any way we could table for a discussion or anything?
Well, we can discuss, I mean, right now. If you got something you need to talk to Constable Little about it, if you want to put it off a week, we can do that.
That's what I would like to do, if it, at all possible.
Okay. I'll withdraw my motion.
I'll withdraw my second.
Who wants to call what?
If,
Commissioner Watts wants to talk to you about that before we take action on it. So let's, Constable, we'll wait, let you all visit, be sure we've got that, everything in line.
That's no problem. If he has questions, you have to put this is where I'm at right now, so yeah. We'll just, maybe get it next week after.
Okay, very good.
Okay, all right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir, be careful out there.
thank you.
So Judge, it seems like to me we have our motion and our second.
With,
They withdrew them.
You did?
yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Okay, we're down to item number 7, is receive monthly investment report from Bob Hampton, County Treasurer. Mr. Hampton.
Morning, gentlemen. I tried to get Travis to come in and do my bill too. Scooted out. This is, right in front of you is a little grouping of stuff. That front page shows us the end of September. The general funds ended up in September 57,293,854. Trailing 12 months in 20, September of 20, 51,376,380, which represents a 12% increase. The overall numbers for, well, that was the overall numbers. So to include GN and all the other numbers that impact you directly. GN, for example, is $43,678,023. And a year ago, $39,111,433, which the general fund account, those assets are a 12% increase as well.
Is that due, Are you including ARPA money in there?
No,
No.
no, and LPPF money, no. This is all general fund monies.
But there are encumbered funds within the general fund, right?
Well, yeah, we have an indebtedness, that's particularly our bond fund, from the jail.
But like
We'll be-
all the
We'll be
pockets,
paying that after Bob Hampton's a member.
and the pockets of money though, like the fee codes and things that they initially go to general fund until they're paid to the state or whatever the case be, right?
Yes,
Yes. So it accounts for all of that as well.
they do.
Okay.
Are those quarterly or monthly paid? when we make? I know we've had some trouble due to our software changeover.
Yeah.
But we are getting some of those out now.
We are.
So looking back on the historical, last year at this time, precinct 4 had 555,000. This year they have 1.305 million.
That's just
What-
good management, Mark. That's what it's called.
You have a lottery ticket in there
Are-
or something? Yeah.
How does, what accounts for that big variable in precinct 4?
Well, I really don't know how that counts for, really, other than the fact that, we'd be glad to visit with you about it.
Well, we've been trying to do that for a
Yeah.
while.
We have been, yeah, and, there's always been the conflicts.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't you all set a time right here now, and we can do that,
Is there,
and get that done, but gosh, Mr. Hampton, that's been going on almost 2 months, trying to get you guys together.
Could we have a work session so we could all,
Set in on it.
Well,
Set in on
let's-
it.
Sure,
let's-
that'd be
let's-
great. Let's have a work session.
I mean, that is a possibility.
that's fine,
Yeah,
that's
oh, that
fine with
is.
me. Because it affects all of us.
Jose got it out there and he's looked at it and
Well, then we
Okay.
can just put that on.
he's shown me what he's
Let's
done.
do it on a Friday and let's try to understand what's going on here. 'Cause I don't understand it yet.
Well, we'll put that on Friday morning's agenda.
Okay, that's good.
This
Precinct
Friday,
5 doesn't
I
have a
won't,
separate
Judge. I've
investment.
got a heart stress test.
Precinct
Oh,
5
okay.
always been kind of a negative.
And we have the water district coming also. Could we go out one
Following
more?
weeks,
We can
following
go-
week's
yeah.
fine.
We
We've
can go the
gone,
following Monday or
The
go.
following Monday after lunch.
Do
is
it
fine
after
with me.
lunch? That'd be great.
Cheryl, does that work for you, the following Monday,
Which
A
Monday?
week from today.
Yeah.
a week from today?
Yeah, that's fine.
Bob, you'll be here that
Come back at
Next.
1:30.
Good
week.
Lord willing,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's,
I think there'd be some benefit for us all
I
to
think so.
Me
go
too.
through it at the same time.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that.
That'll be November the 1st.
the second sheet that you got in front of you is the,
No.
is the jail.
Oh, Friday.
Friday, the
1:30.
No, it's
Oh, this
Monday.
following,
Monday
this
after.
following, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Monday the 1st,
No, Monday the 25th.
Monday the 25th.
week from today.
Yeah, a week
Oh,
from
let me
today.
get on the right calendar here.
Yeah.
Week from today, okay.
Yeah,
Monday,
all
okay,
good.
got it.
We've been having that calendar problem all morning.
October.
And we wonder why we can't get our balances.
All right, very good.
Okay, let Mr. Hampton finish with
Yeah,
his.
good idea.
The second sheet will show you at the top of the page of the LEC monies. Currently, we've got $3,352,391 in the bank. We're fixing to send out a check and some other things. Once that's all done, we're probably gonna have about $1.5 million left. And I want to call your attention right there on the last page of that sheet is gives you an idea of the checks that we paid out and the total number of checks, 69,603. There's a check number 1108002. Just want to make sure that that's not a per diem to the county treasurer. That check was written to me to refund water that we had paid the city, so that's $919. And I understand you know all about that, Commissioner.
We got a refund on the water?
No, we paid a water bill out of the,
Was it
At least
fire
you-
hydrant usage water?
I'm really not sure what it was. All I had was sort of the check and it said water bill.
There was something.
The check was made out to me, and I want to make sure that you knew what that was about. $919.02.
But there was something to do, there was some project, we talked about that, and there was gonna be, the bill was discussed, that the water was used
Oh,
as part of construction.
part of construction. And it-
Yeah. And so
It was-
we might check if that's not a fire hydrant meter with that
Right.
kind of money on it.
And
Okay.
Judge, did George Crutchfield ever get us a number for the, we wanted to consider doing something with our standalone server there, or, you know, the upgrade to technology in that unit standalone instead of coming back here or bouncing off of here? It was maybe the last time you and I met, and you'd encouraged him to get some numbers.
Yeah, we talked about getting, yeah, so that there would be that kind of a fail-safe system out there. And you've got part of that because much of what they do works out of the cloud, but we were looking at, and I don't think he's gotten that to us.
And would, the system, the annexes system is separate and apart, the lift function that goes on at the annex is separate and apart from the new facility totally, right?
Sewage lift system?
The sewage
Okay,
lift
I wasn't
system?
sure what we were looking.
Sewage lift system, is it completely separate and apart from the new facility?
The new one does drain, it works with the contour of the land. It still has a muffin monster and processing because of the kind of things that inmates tend to offer into the sewer system.
Would we be able to, with ARPA, enhance, or maybe the LEC, I'm not sure, but with any funds, enhance our lift system that is in operation today so that it's more modernized?
We
you know,
put in an entirely new civil side of the sewer all the way up to Hammond Road.
Well, no, I'm talking about on the old facility where we pull those pumps, you know, where we have the grinding going on, and then sometimes the sumps lay down on us, and it's twin sumps down there, and I think independently, if one goes down, then we're
Yeah, but
pretty.
we shouldn't have the issue with that old building anymore when we move everyone out of it.
Well, I'm just saying, if we turn around and leased it or something, and
I think we need to look at what would be the purpose and what goes on then, and then have that discussion as to what needs to be done.
okay, and the college, when they flush the restrooms, it goes there as well, the
Yes.
same place? I guess so.
If, I'm trying to recall, because we had that discussion a lot in the past, and Mark, I believe that the engineers told us that we would not be able to eliminate the lift deal. Wasn't that?
From
Yeah,
that, from
yeah,
that
we're kind
building.
of getting.
Because we looked at it going into the new facility, and they just didn't think there was any way we could get past it.
No, we've increased capacity considerably
Yeah.
from the new facility.
And that has been an ongoing problem to the extent that we've kept extra pumps and grinders and all
Well,
that.
I just kind of wondered if the LEC extended to the annex.
I don't remember if that new sewer line goes all the way back to there or not.
No,
I
think they're completely separate.
I believe so.
But as enhancements to the LEC, could they be upgraded so that that would, and let us, I guess my point is, we're 3 million out, and we're gonna soon find, without the holdback that you're talking, we're gonna have to spend these funds. They can only be spent for
Well, there's
LEC.
still a lot of
plenty of things.
outstanding
Okay.
IT.
And try to solve an ongoing problem.
I was just trying
Yeah.
to solve an ongoing problem with
right.
LEC funds by
But
upgrading.
I think, Commissioner, to do that, going back to the discussion that we had way before the new LEC was built, is, because that was what we thought, could we go in and redo it and do away with the lift station? We were pretty well told that won't work, and which is why we had to do it. And to really improve the deal, I think that's what you got to do. To answer your question, and I'm not sure that's, I'm not
If it
sure
went to
that's
enhance
possible.
the business part behind, which is what we did earlier, maybe we could throw it over on our book. But I don't know, it would be a good question to ask Kerry Maroney or
Okay.
someone like that.
Okay. Well, Bob, this was exactly what
But
my
keep in mind,
question.
you're down to 1.5 million now.
Yeah.
Seafront, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also in this sheet is, since my minor was economics, I want to make sure you guys are staying abreast of where we were.
Where's the good
This
news?
is-
Where's the
you
good
already had
news on
the
this?
weekend on Sunday,
Yeah.
I tuned into that reconciliation bill. That's, bill is 2,400 pages long. And
That's a short version.
that, I just thought, man, we're in deep trouble. I mean, General Powell died this morning.
Yeah, and digging
He's
deeper.
one of my personal heroes, and we're losing men of integrity up there. This 2,400 page deal says, involved in this $3.5 trillion bill, it's $4 billion is set aside for removal of racial or racist statuary. Now, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it can be
Now,
anything.
you and I both know what it means.
Yeah.
$7 billion is set aside for Ivy League colleges. $7 billion. $100 million is set aside for butterflies, the study of butterflies, desert fish, and mussels. And I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about just regular mussels.
Considerable amount for tree equity.
The price of oil closed at $82.66 last Friday. The last Friday in October a year ago, the oil was $35.71. That's an increase of 131%.
Which puts it back to roughly where we had before. We were in a $60 to $80 a barrel oil 4 years ago.
It sure makes a difference whether it's coming from West Texas and whether it's coming from
It sure does.
Saudi
Saudi
Arabia,
Arabia.
and that's the big question.
The other side of it, the Dow closed Friday at 35,294, and a year ago it was 26,501. That's 33% increase. So our market is,
Mr. Treasurer,
and the 10-year treasury, that sheet right there will cover that. A year ago it was 0.86. Today it closed at 1.5.
I heard a term on a podcast this morning, and I wish you would define it for me. Not your term, but do your best. Good inflation, bad inflation. What's good inflation?
I heard that same broadcast.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did. I'll tell you what,
I knew you'd know.
I rate that along with the bills are already paid, we're gonna tax the rich. That didn't include county treasurers, so.
I'm an economics guy
All I know
too,
is
and I didn't have a definition for good
I'll tell you,
inflation. Yeah.
you're exactly right, Commissioner. I think, and you say, well, why aren't our local representatives having these kinds of programs? Did you know about that $4 billion racial statue removal? I thought that was very, very bizarre. All I know is Robert A. Lee said, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So that's where I come from.
Well, I appreciate what we're doing here. We're working with the Arts Alliance to build a statue to Charlie Ferris out on the front lawn area.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
very
And
much
to start
so.
recognizing people of color that have contributed to the great success of this area. And to do that, to build up instead of tear down.
2 Sundays ago, I had a minister mention the fact that statuary was absolutely biblical, because the first thing that Joshua did when he crossed the river was that he built a rock statue to remind everyone how far they'd come and how far they're going. So that's what statuary is all about. It's not to remember how great the past was, is remember those people that impact our lives in a positive way. Yeah. That's where we are. We're in trouble, guys. The reason I mentioned all that is, a guy that I do have a lot of comments, he spoke up this weekend and said, if you're gonna buy stuff, now's the time to be buying it. So if we want to stockpile, you know, our deal is petroleum background. And it's gonna get a lot worse. So stockpiling is not a bad word, because of a year from now, it's gonna be, you know, we got 3 years of this mess. A year from now, it's gonna be even worse.
Well, we spent the last 18 years getting there. Neither,
Well, when I hear the Homeland Security man tell me that everything's gonna work out and just because we don't have Christmas presents, and that some inflation is good, there's good inflation, there's bad inflation.
you know, Murphy, there was the thing we talked about a year ago about this, about, you know, the fact that there is a right level. I had a hard time following that.
Well, his kickstart though, Judge, was the fact that the Fed rates were so low.
Yeah.
That they were to rise,
Yeah.
there had to be some inflation to come off.
And growth will create a certain amount of inflation,
Yeah.
but not what we're seeing.
No,
From a county perspective, I see the same thing that's going on with private industry, and it concerns me because we have no method whatsoever in the departments in this county that rely on certain products to carry out their mission to hedge these increasing costs in the precincts, what we're most familiar with. We really need to be hedging some costs, and I don't see any avenue to do it.
we can hedge on institutional toilet paper and get that bought up.
That wasn't what I was talking about,
No,
Judge.
no, okay.
But it really bothers me because we set a budget in this room a few months ago that we're going to operate under. We're going to do it. But the products that we're going to have to buy in this next 12 months to do that with, we have no control over what the cost is going to be. And it concerns me greatly.
If you give a raise at 1% though, Commissioner, and the cost of living goes up 4%, your people are hurting. That's the bottom line.
That probably won't even be zero. I mean, because there's so many hidden things, you know, involved in it, so.
That's
The
not
point
just
is
the
though,
cost.
we've all got to speak out. I mean, we've got to do some talking.
I agree.
This, you know, nobody passes a bill for 2,400 pages. How insulting is that?
I'll be glad it's not more.
Well,
They
Bob,
cut
I've
some
got
of it, but not enough of
a
it.
question here. The LPPF funds, do we keep the interest?
No,
It folds in?
LPPF funds, they pay us $20,000 a year to do their little paperwork.
And how are we
Once a year.
doing that? Just once a
We take-
year
we
up
take it
front,
out at the
off
end
the
of
top?
year. Yes, sir.
Okay, we're
Yeah,
taking
it's
it
a
off and it,
Deposit in a withdrawal, isn't it, basically? Or,
Yeah, it goes right into the general fund.
okay.
Yeah. Here again,
That
that's
was
the-
part of my
all
question.
that, the genesis of that was the feds messing with the state on the indigent healthcare. Another bureaucracy.
but the message of the day, Wichita Falls is still a bargain.
Yeah.
And I believe that, I really do.
Let's move on to item number 8. Okay, item 8 is report and update on courthouse and elevator projects and law enforcement centers. Mr. Beecham?
Well, if you haven't been to the annex lately, you probably wouldn't recognize it when you walk through the front door. It looks completely different. It's starting to look like a professional building now.
Floors are fantastic.
Yeah, and they'll
If-
be
if-
putting floors in on the second and third floor elevator lobbies this week. It's doing tile work on the back hall around the restrooms. Our staff will start the back elevator lobby probably this week as well, tiling it. We should get the above ceiling inspection this week, which will allow us to go ahead and put the drop ceiling and the rest of the lighting in. And once that's done, elevator inspection can occur and maybe get that thing open finally.
If you haven't been there, you will, because I got my greeting cards from
Yeah,
Mr.
we all got our
Smythe.
greeting cards, our
This
love
last
letters from
week.
Tommy.
Greetings, yeah.
But, yeah, that project's coming along. We will start building walls around the south elevator in the courthouse beginning next Monday. We were going to start this week, but due to some scheduling changes, we'll begin doing that next week. Which, once we start that project, that back door, the sheriff's back door, our old sheriff's office door, will no longer be an access point for county employees.
Will we have this northeast door done? Is it
I
done?
hope so.
Well,
I hope so. If not, we can still use it during off hours.
I was gonna say, we don't have
if we
any
need
after
to,
hours
But
access.
really, I don't want people going through there during the day when construction's going
no,
on.
but they, you know,
Yep.
those of us that come and go after the courthouse
Yeah.
closes.
Yeah.
How did we modify, Judge, used to there was, records, and we'd sign a sheet when they come in. How do y'all come in now?
Same way, just no one has a sheet there.
So we might find you on Monday, locked in the.
Yeah, that's,
Well, you can still call the old records number, and they'll answer out at the LAC, and then you ask somebody to come around from bookend, but
Oh,
that's gonna change.
that's
for
gonna
us,
change,
too.
okay, yeah.
I came in at 3 o'clock last Monday morning, trying to find the key to the annex, which is another long story. I didn't have a key to Judge's key box, so it did me a lot of good. But really, that's, what's that?
But you did have his phone number.
I wasn't gonna call you at 3 o'clock in the morning, unless it was absolutely necessary.
All I'm saying is I'm over 50 and I'm usually up at 3 o'clock.
For one purpose or another.
Yeah.
But really, lot going on, but we're starting to see good changes at the annex. It's starting to look good. If you hadn't been by there, go by there.
You might talk with the auditor. She did some auditing of some of the floor work. She may have some comments.
Oh, I know that one joint I'm not happy with, and that was not what I wanted, not what I asked for, but I got an explanation that I don't know that I agree with, but
Basically, they don't want to pull it up and fix it.
pretty well, we don't have tile really to pull it up and fix it, but they gave me an explanation that if we would have stair-stepped it the way I wanted it done, first of all, it wouldn't have been diagonal across, and it wouldn't have been a random pattern. It would have not have been a randomized pattern with the floor tiles, and it would have looked off. I don't know.
You have something else, Mr. Hampton?
I just want to say that the annex does look great, and if you guys have, I know you probably already have done that, but if you haven't, please go there and brag on we've got some real artisans working for the county.
Amen.
Those guys,
Yeah, Tony and Gilbert.
they hung that rock.
I visited with him,
You
Bob.
know, I'm a sucker for a pat on the head myself, but that really does,
Yeah, outstanding.
that really does mean a lot, and if you guys haven't seen that and told those guys, well, we're blessed to have those men working with us.
Yeah, and I didn't know I never seen the little stuff put up before, and I was watching them do that. Mark had told me about the floor, and I went over there to see the floor, and then I caught him doing that, and you're right, Bob, great job.
That floor, I tell you, I remember when that hallway was full of filing cabinets. And you had to be careful where you stepped, but you could break an ankle. That baby looks like a dance hall now.
Yeah.
It does look nice, except for the one joint, but we'll live with it. It's,
We could get Willie to come to Wichita.
Okay, thank you, sir. Do you all have something to bring to us today? I know it's come back,
I just had one question. When are you gonna have the display of the new voting systems?
8th and 9th of November over at MPEC.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I was gonna I made myself a note today that I need to get that press release out.
And you'll need to come to both because have one kind of machine one day and one the next.
Okay.
It'll be interesting.
And, I think there's the time frame is 7 to 8, or whatever time we run, but open up 7, give people time to have supper and come back.
So did you catch that in our conference last week when the DRE, we've got to get rid of the DREs?
Guys, we're getting
Oh,
off
sorry.
into a discussion, we're not
Okay.
there. No.
All right, sorry,
Okay,
you're right.
all right. It is 11:28 and we're adjourned.